a dream. My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
All right, today our podcast is going to be about the justice system demonstrating racial bias. My name is Dairyona Thompson.
And I am Ashinik Das.
And today we're going to touch on the topics far as justice system, racially profiling black youth, black men, black women, and all minorities. We are going to touch on topics that are personal and the ideas and basically what we think about this issue, basically.
Okay, so in our position, we want to create change and awareness for just everyone to have a better understanding of how the justice system is really demonstrating a racially biased system. And we want to also bring it to the attention of the people of color that have been subjected to the law enforcement and the racially profiling as well. So we're just gonna go into it.
All right, so we're going to start this conversation off by just, talking to each other. Of course, Professor C, you're listening, but talking to each other just about how we can relate to this topic and how it has affected us, maybe personally. First, Das, I just want to ask you, what do you, really think about how our justice system is formed and how it, works? And obviously it doesn't work in the black person's favor, but how do you think, what do you think about it?
Okay, well, honestly, I feel like it has been corrupt for a very, very long time, but now it's starting to get to a point where people publicize it and see how bad it really is. As I spoke about it in class when they talked about the Central Park 5, they just really came out with this topic and put it on Netflix, and I feel like a lot of people didn't even know about that story.
Yeah, I'm not even going to lie. I didn't know about it.
Until they actually came out. So the fact that now they're trying to come out with stuff, and then now they're coming out with American Son, with Kerry Washington, and
that's
how
crazy.
You can see a black mother's standpoint of raising a black son. You have a fear in the back of your mind that my son can be killed at any moment. Like, you can think of Trayvon Martin's mother. She didn't think her son was going to be killed by a random man. She thinks he's going to come home and all this other stuff. But it's something about being a mother. We could just talk about mothers and just how they feel. Okay, I'm bringing a son into this world, but there's still a fear in the back of my mind. I cannot protect him every single second.
Right, and so that kind of correlates because it's the justice system, I feel has no, not that it needs sympathy, but I feel like there's no, there's no separation far as there's no consideration. Just put it as that. There's no consideration because it's once you're 18, you're going to get charged as an adult, and that's it. But, I feel like there's kind of more than that, and there's more to that. Mm-hmm. And far as even, what I think about this situation, I really think that the justice system is not in it's not in any colored person's favor. Put that as that. It's not in any colored person's favor because of the simple fact of not only just racism, but it's also about power. Mm-hmm. And it's also about, it's also about a ranking. Far as Caucasian men, I feel like they want the power. So in order to get that, type of thing, we have to lock these minorities up, which also comes into discrimination, which also comes into separation. I feel like they want to separate the black people, because together we are powerful, and that puts fear in them. So I think that's why our justice system is the way it is, because of who runs it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to call anybody out, but I feel like this is just factual things that we have seen throughout the years of being colored.
Right. All right, y'all. But the real question is, how do the people of color really prepare for a corrupted, biased justice system? What do you think, Derry?
I think it's more of like, how do we go through life with a target on our back? I feel like to answer that question, it's more of starting with being able to speak out, being able to exert our First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. A lot of times we protest, and we gather to put our minds together to create change, to promote change, and a lot of times I think it gets shut down. It gets shut down very easily. For example, the Black Panther. Not to say that every community that came together was perfect, but I think the Black Panther gave us a voice. I think Black Lives Matter gives us a voice, and I feel like we're not getting that equally treatment. We're not getting that First Amendment right, which is freedom of speech, which can progress change. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's how we prepare for it. That's how we get things to start to move, start to change, really. So.
Right. So, I know with us being African American women, we definitely have personal stories that we can talk about. How the question of being prepared, I feel like it's really, there's no way to prepare for it.
Correct.
The parents can have the talk with us, like, oh, when you get pulled over, put your hands on the dashboard.
Correct.
But some people, like, I feel like we're not there, but I feel like people have done that, but some people still have been in messed up situations where they still got killed. Like,
of course,
they cooperated, and it still wasn't enough.
Of course.
It still wasn't enough. Like, there's people that you can see with different videos on CNN and stuff where how Black men are really handled by the police forcefully when it's not really necessary.
Come on.
Like, it's really not necessary. There's people getting choked out and killed for no reason. I remember there's one, I forgot his last name, but his first name was Michael, and he got choked out by police officers for, I don't know what the story was, but it shouldn't have ended up being to death. It shouldn't have been. It should have been an alternate solution and better thing. So what do you think about that, Derry?
That's getting into law enforcement. That's getting into another topic that, we're discussing. And I think that comes with training. Again, that brings up the circle of look who is in our justice system, and look at who's training our policemen. Not to say that every policeman is bad.
Right.
I know a lot of policemen, that are a family friend, and I'm not saying it's maybe their fault personally as a person. I'm saying it's their training that they're getting.
Right.
And I feel like that can progress change. I feel like we should change how our officers are getting trained.
Right.
And that, again, I feel like, Black people have spoke about that. And I feel like our questions or our statements aren't getting answers. There's no resolution to our questions and our statements that we're speaking about, and that we're bringing awareness to, and that we're protesting about. So, all in all, I think it's really about letting our voices be heard.
Right. I truly agree. All right, y'all. It is time for some straight facts. So the straight facts are coming from Seattle's finest. You already know, Derry. So let's get into these facts. Let's go.
Well, a couple facts that I wanted to bring to your attention, Professor C, was Black men are 19.1% more likely to get a larger and a longer sentence than white men. And That statistic is from 2012 to 2016. Of course, yes, we are in 2019, almost 2020. I'm pretty sure that percent has gone up, but I'm not quite sure. Another fact that I want to make known is black male offenders were 21.2% likely than male offenders to receive a reduced sentence from a judge without the request of a prosecutor. So I'm not the the expert on statistics and numbers and all that other stuff, but I can see and we can see that obviously there's a problem here. There's a problem here, and there's no fairness. And you have that quote that like, oh, life isn't fair. Yet we live in a nation where we promote togetherness and we promote unity, but we can't even come together and supply fair unity to all of our Americans.
Sure enough.
So I just think that's a problem as well. Is we're not unified as American people. If we want to quit talking about race for 1 second, we are so solidified and we're so separated, by these Democrats and Republicans and all this other stuff. I feel like we are so separated in 2019 going into 2020. And so I think that we should come together as different people of color to stop this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? And that was just, some ideas I had to throw out there.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening to this podcast. It has been a pleasure. My name is Ajunik Das.
My name is Dairyona Thompson.
And basically, that's it for us. Thank you, Professor C, for all the stuff, the opportunity. And what else would you like to add?
I also want to thank you, Professor C, for being a great professor, letting us speak out on this issue and the topics that